make a stand publicly in main administration building where students Grahamstown businesses
across the country.
In the news today, Grahamstown locals take to the streets to protest against the recent xenophobia attacks that have erupted in the country.
We will then check on the progress of the HPV vaccinations being given to grade 4 schoolgirls. In other news, we will take a look at how small businesses in Grahamstown have been negatively affected by load shedding.
Etembeni, located here in Grahamstown East, has been without water and electricity as a result of lack of communication with the municipality.
And later on, we will cross live to the talk held by the economic freedom fighters on the subject of the Rhodes name change. Good morning and welcome to Molo Makana. I'm Sisipos Kweye.
And I am Katleho Ramafal. There have been outbreaks of xenophobic attacks throughout the country. Grahamstown locals took to the streets to march against xenophobia. A mixture of flags, struggle songs, and dances were heard and seen throughout the protest.
Students and locals gather outside of the Rhodes University Main Administration building to protest against the current acts of xenophobic violence in South Africa. The march will proceed to the Makana municipal buildings. It is led by Rhodes University Vice-Chancellor Dr. Sizwe Mabizela, along with a range of academic, political and local government representatives who will join in to show their solidarity.
Unite, Africa, unite! Unite! Join our voices across the country that we will never support or tolerate any form of abuse or harm to the people from other countries.
As SANCO, we are saying no to xenophobia.
Students and academics voiced their opinions on the importance of the march.
Into ebuhlungu kakhulu le ingakumbi eyona nto ebuhlungu into yoba ngabantu abamnyama abalwa nabanye abantu abamnyama. Ndicinga uba eyona nto masiyijonge into yoba sizibuze umbuzo uba kutheni le nto ingabantu abamnyama abahlaselwa isikakhulu kwelizwe lethu.
Participants from schools, individuals, religious groups, society members and more are gathered, carrying flags and other symbols of mourning.
We embrace and value diversity, and we respect and celebrate difference.
These explosions of xenophobia in our country are not only denting the image of our country, but they are also destroying the unity of Africans. Forward to the unity of Africans, forward!
The attacks are against the values outlined in our constitution, and Grahamstown citizens are ready to make a stand publicly, distancing their community from the attack of xenophobia. This is Sarah Knight reporting from Rhodes University, Grahamstown.
The Health Department, in collaboration with the Department of Education, has started a new human papillomavirus vaccine campaign here in Grahamstown. They are giving vaccination to grade 4 primary school girls. However, after further investigation, it has been noted that education about this virus is needed in tertiary institutions.
The Department of Health and the Department of Education began HPV vaccine trials in Grahamstown for grade 4 girls in March this year. The HPV vaccine is focused on girls this age group to help prevent the contraction of HPV in a later stage.
The HPV, or human papillomavirus, most people seem to know it by HPV, is a viral infection that's passed from person to person through very intimate contact. So we normally find it being transmitted through sexual means. And it's the HPV, there are many different viruses within that, strains of the virus, over about 100 of them. Of about 40 of those can cause cancers.
Women between the ages of 18 and 25 are the most sexually active. As a result, they are more likely to contract HPV. University students fall within this age group, so they are at a high risk. We speak to Yolande Owen, who informs us why the vaccine is given to grade 4 learners.
The government's aiming at your grade 4s because they are hoping that they're catching them before they become sexually active at that age 9 to 10 age group. That's why they're going for it then. It also saves them money because they only have to give 2 doses at that age. They give 1 dose and another dose because the immunity has never seen this before, we hope, and that means that your immune system can build up an adequate response with the 2 doses. As you get older, you might have been exposed to some HPV viruses and you need to have the 3 doses. And the vaccines themselves say up to the age of 26.
Although HPV may lead to cervical cancer, most female university students do not know what the virus is and how they may protect themselves from it.
That is a huge problem. Students come in here, they do not know even what a pap smear is, So our knowledge is very limited and we need to increase awareness about this. And at the beginning of the year, when we do orientation, we do go out and give talks for the first year students because we target the first years.
This is Mangaliso Ngwenya reporting for Molo Makana. Back to studio.
Load shedding has been affecting all parts of the country. We will now gear our focus to Grahamstown business owners who have voiced their opinions on the recent increase in rolling blackouts, claiming that Eskom has severely affected many businesses, and this not only upsets customers, but also has a negative impact on the local economy.
Load shedding is still in full swing, leaving South African citizens in the dark. This continued disruption is negatively affecting Grahamstown businesses who need electricity for their day-to-day operations.
Load shedding has had a direct impact on businesses, even large ones, which have generators, because that's fuel that's used, so it adds to the cost, and that cost is passed on to consumers. Right? For smaller businesses that are not in a mall where there's a generator, that means a straight loss of business. In general, it's hit the economy very hard, and that also will affect businesses in Grahamstown.
The 2 generators that we've had for about 2 years have given us a very basic functionality, and we've had to make a decision based on the media and the information we're getting from Eskom as to what the future is, and we've just recently decided to upgrade what we've got.
Every time we've got load shedding, we don't make the budget. We have to close the doors, so we don't do anything. We just sit there and wait for the electricity to come back.
That time when there's no power, we try our best to the kitchen to make our food, but everything is going to be fine.
If it's end at 2 o'clock, we just close and wait. But if it's late at 6 o'clock, we just close and go home.
While there are scheduled times for load shedding, they are often not followed, and this adds to the problem.
We are easy enough to adapt and still be able to sort of, we fill our flasks with coffee, so we'll have coffee for lunch if it's a 12 o'clock load shed. It would be easier for us to make a plan if we knew exactly when the load sheds were going to be happening and exactly what stage we're in.
While businesses in Grahamstown are trying their best to adapt, load shedding is still affecting them very heavily. The solution to the problem remains unclear, but businesses continue to work around it. Kimara Singh, Grahamstown.
As the issue of load shedding worsens across the country, Eskom has started looking at drastic measures to ensure the country's grid. Locally, Makana is gearing up to upgrade infrastructure and install electricity in certain parts of Joza Township. However, places like Etembeni still remain without the structures for electricity and water.
After 21 years of democracy, some townships are still left without running water, electricity, and proper roads. Etembeni location is yet to receive those benefits, but residents are being urged to move their own houses without assistance in order to fast-track the road construction in the area.
Construction has started with this road here, but there hasn't been progress for a few weeks.
Residents say this road will go through some of their homes, but it will change their lives for the better.
Asifuni into yakho thina sifuna umuva qha kuba sifunela amalungelo wethu. Akhonda kwenzela yena masipala bengikabi ready. Into bana azi asenzele lento kuba thina sisiva kuthi.
The representatives of the project claim that people have agreed to move their own houses, but some are scared to say otherwise, even though they do not have the resources to rebuild their homes.
Bandimdedwa unothi le nto ayinakwenzeka. Izangathi ndim lo bholiqhu. Ayikho indawo nobheka kuyo. Bandichithele into kufanele ndikhawuleze ndiyenze nabiyavuza ndiyenze ndingaphakathi ndimitsha ndigqibezele ndingaphakathi endlini.
Sihlele emanzini, siphefumula amanzi, siphefumula udaka. Kuba siyakhala asamkeleki. Khona ingxaki esizisayo kodwa azamkeleki. Ngonje siyasuswa ngokususwa endawo asenamandla ozakhela fune esakhe ngodaka asikwazi ukwakha ngodaka. Sawuthi kubo mabazame into basifumana itente asikwazi usifumana. Asiyazi ba masithini ke ngoku.
We spoke to the local ward councillor who assured us that the project will run smoothly after everyone has moved, saying money has been allocated for the development despite the municipality's financial instability.
That project is a community participation project. People have agreed to do so. 90% or 80% of them are ready to move.
The issue is still unfolding, and the people of Etembeni are still hoping for answers and waiting for progress. This is Zizi Pomajavo reporting at Etembeni location.
It's time for us to now go look at the weather with Michael Dorfling.
Hello and welcome to the Molo Makana weather. I'm Mickey Dorfling. With winter steadily approaching our doorstep, it's time to whip out those old winter woolies because things are about to get a little bit colder in the Eastern Cape. Let's take a look at the forecast for our province. A cool start is forecasted for Alival North with a low of only 6 degrees reaching a high of 22. It's not quite winter yet, but it's that awkward phase in between, if you know what I mean. Moving along the coast to the East London Buffalo City region, we see a slightly warmer start to the day with a low of 12 reaching a high of 20. A northerly wind is forecasted for the area as well as overcast skies, but no rain is forecasted as of yet. Moving home to the Grahamstown Makana region, we see that things are starting to really cool down around the area with a low of 8 and a high of 18. No rain is forecasted, but veterans of the Makana weather system will know to keep their eyes peeled to the sky anyway. A few kilometers away, and we see that the Port Elizabeth Nelson Mandela Bay area has a slightly more moderate temperature range than that of the Makana region, and that is obviously due to the coastal winds which the area does experience. The low here will be 12 with the high of 19. And then moving along to the Cradock-Crawford area, we see that the temperatures are similar to that of the Nelson Mandela Bay area. However, of course, they do not have those fresh coastal winds, so the humidity would be significantly lower. And finally, moving along to the Queenstown area as well as the central part of the Eastern Cape, we see similar temperatures to that of Cradock, a little bit warmer at 14, reaching a high of 20, and sunshine forecasted all day. Now let's take a look at our extended forecast for the weekend. Well, that's all from us here at the Weather Center. I hope you have a pleasant weekend and stay warm out there, Makana. This has been Mickey Dorfling. Until next time.
A very warm welcome to our studio guest from the Student Command Team of the EFF, Siseko Khumalo.
Thank you for having me.
Before we continue with this conversation, I would like to cross over to our reporter, Nontobeko Gumete, who is currently at the talk that is tackling the issues around name change here at Rhodes University. Nonto, what is the situation like there?
All right, yeah, Sissy Point Cats, yeah, as you can see, we are outside Barrett's right now, and it's fully crowded. Julius Malema has left the building. I repeat, Julius Malema has left the building. It's been one heck of the day, so yeah, I'll report back to you guys in 5.
After seeing that clip, how do you think Julius Malema's visit was received by the Rhodes University students?
I would argue that the Rhodes University community received the Commander-in-Chief quite well, and I would say that his message as well of transformation at Rhodes University was communicated very effectively, although we would have wished for him to bring it more closer to home in discussing issues of transformation on campus.
Now, from my understanding, I know that the student command team was in charge of running the whole operation. Could you please explain to us what is the student command team and what duties do they have?
Basically, at the moment, it is still an interim student command team, and we are charged with setting up a branch here at Rhodes University of the Economic Freedom Fighters. And basically that means political education around issues of the ideology within the EFF, etc., etc. Yes.
So what are the benefits of being a member of this organization?
I would say that there are really no benefits besides educating the community, conscientizing young people with regards to economic emancipation within our lifetime. And I would say that that is the greatest reward in all of it. Other than that, I have no knowledge of any other particular interests as such.
As you mentioned earlier that Julius Malema didn't really touch on the issues at hand, from your understanding, what were the main issues that were meant to be addressed today?
In a sense, he talks about curriculum transformation, he talks about giving praise to certain particular individuals within our history that are not necessarily, the most favorable. However, curriculum transformation, I think, could have been more at the fore of the discussion, as well as the current situation, what with the activism from the BSM. Those are the issues that we would have wished to see him touch on. However, we do believe that he captured quite effectively some of the issues that are taking place in effect in terms of the national discourse in South Africa of transformation and change, not only limiting it to South Africa, but also broadening the scope to the entire country. Yeah.
And on that note, our field reporter Nontobego is back with us, and she has a few students who have something to say about the talk.
All right, guys, so I would like to know what are your opinions on today's talk, especially on this whole idea on transformation and changing the name of the university?
I was, to be honest, a bit disappointed with today's talk. I feel that it was more of a punt for the EFF itself as opposed to dealing with the issues of transformation at Rhodes. I think he spent about 2 sentences speaking about the actual issues of transformation and then just ended it off by saying, I hope that we see you next year with the name being changed. There's definitely a need for transformation in the university, whether it comes through in the changing of the name or the removal of statues. That's another issue, but I think as much as the structural racism needs to be adjusted, so too does the class racism that exists in Rhodes. And I don't think any of those issues were aired or talked about at today's talk, and to be honest, it was a bit disappointing.
All right, guys, any one of you would like to add on?
He touched on everything which is basically an issue right now with regards of transformation, and basically addressed the fundamental cause of this, and basically spoke on what should actually change, which is the idealism or whatever, which we need to change perceptions. That is basically what I got from today.
As we gather from Nontobego and her interview, students are very disappointed. What do you think could have been done differently?
I would argue that the venue itself, I think, was one of the most disappointing aspects in terms of the students, and as the EFF student command team, we have issued a statement of apology to the students with regards to that. In terms of the university's protocol and having a high-profile guest on campus, it was to ensure his absolute safety, being at Rhodes University, and subsequently why the venue had to be limited in the way that it was. So, in a sense, that is the only difference that I would argue could have been made in terms of the address by the CIC. However, everything else I would say we would do exactly the same if we were to do it once again, yes.
Are there any other events that are in the pipeline at the moment?
Indeed, there are. We are hoping to have other members of the Central Command Team of the Economic Freedom Fighters, that's at a national level, coming forward to Rhodes University to conscientize students about political emancipation, economic emancipation, and various other aspects, within our ideology as the Economic Freedom Fighters. And it is also to educate our membership, which is growing here at Rhodes University, about what it is that we as the EFF stand for. Although, of course, these events will be opened up to students within Rhodes University, but primarily it is for our members. Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us in studio today, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That is it for today's show. On behalf of myself and Sisipo, thank you so much for watching, and join us again on Molo Makana.